Hello, my name is Derek Atkins, and this video lecture is entitled The Nature of Humanity. This video lecture is for the course Theological Foundations at the East Asia School of Theology. One of the great questions that philosophers and theologians have struggled to answer is the question, who are we? Are we highly evolved creatures? Are we biological machines with brains that are super advanced computers? Or are we simply a collection of atoms, electrical pulses, and chemical elements? Or are we something more? Every philosophy, system of philosophy, or religion has an answer to this question. Today, we're going to look at how the Bible answers this question. Now, this lesson will include philosophical concepts that may be much more philosophical than you are used to thinking about or studying. So be aware of that as we begin this lesson. By the end of this lecture, you should be able to identify scriptural passages on the image of God, explain the importance of the doctrine of the image of God, list and explain the views of human constitution as trichotomous, dichotomous, and monist. And you should be able to list and explain the views of the origin of the human soul, pre-existence, creationism, and traducianism. One of the things that makes Christianity and Judaism different from any other religion in the world is the biblical doctrine of the image of God, also pronounced in Latin as imago Dei. This doctrine is found in the very first chapter of the Bible and is rooted in God's creation of the first humans. Genesis 1:26 and 27 says, "Then God said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, over the livestock, over all the earth, and over all the creatures that move along the ground." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. This passage raises a very important question. What exactly is the image of God? In trying to answer this question, what is the image of God, we can ask a few other questions. These questions include, how are we different from animals? Are we like God in any way? And how are we different from God? Over the centuries, many answers have been given to the question, what is the image of God? Here are just a few ways theologians have answered this question. The image of God refers to, first, the ability to know right from wrong and make moral choices. This is one way that we are different from animals, for animals act on instinct, but we can freely choose to obey or disobey God. Another way that we can talk about the image of God is to say that the image of God refers to the ability to have a personal relationship with God. This is another area where we are different from animals, for animals are unable to have the kind of relationship with God that we are able to have. The image of God also refers to the ability to use logic and reason. Animals are able to communicate with each other, but their communication is limited to very concrete matters, such as where to find food or other matters of survival. Humans are able to think and communicate about abstract matters. The image of God also refers to the ability to rule and create within the boundaries God has set for us. While animals do show evidence of being able to create, such as building homes and using simple tools, their creativity is on a limited scale. Humans are able to create on a far greater scale, including art, science, and construction. And although animals do show evidence of hierarchy within their groups, they are not able to rule over creation in the same way humans can. The biblical concept of the image of God is an incredibly important teaching. Because we are created in the image of God, this means humans possess incredible dignity and worth. The image of God forms the foundation upon which modern concepts of human rights are built. Societies that turned away from the God of the Bible, such as the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany, also committed serious violations of human rights. Now, let's move on to talk about the makeup of humans. In Christian theology, there are three basic views about the makeup of humans. There is the monist view, the dichotomist view, and the trichotomist view. The first view we're going to talk about is the trichotomist view. In the trichotomist view, human beings are divided into three basic parts: body, soul, and spirit. They also might identify these three parts as body, mind, and spirit. The biblical basis for the trichotomist view is 1 Thessalonians 5:23 and Hebrews 4:12. Here are some definitions of different that are included in the trichotomist view. The body refers to the material or physical part of human being. The soul is the animal aspect which relates to other creatures and includes intellect, emotions, and self-consciousness. And spirit is the spiritual part that relates to God and enables us to be aware of God. So that's the trichotomist view of humanity. Then there is the dichotomist view. In the dichotomist view, human beings are divided into two basic parts: the material and the immaterial. The biblical basis for the dichotomist view includes Genesis 2:7, which affirms only two parts, dust and spirit. Matthew 10:28, 1 Corinthians 5:3, and 3 John 2. These other three passages affirm that the body and soul or spirit make up the person. Now, according to the dichotomist view, the human soul or spirit is a spiritual or immaterial entity. This is the part of a person that persists after death. The body perishes, but the soul lives on. And the third view is of humanity, and that is found in Christianity, is the monistic view. Monism says that humanity is only made of one part, the material, or matter and energy, arranged in various, which are arranged in various levels of complexity. Thus, we are like animals, but we can still relate to God. The higher capacities like self-awareness and self-determination are emergent properties which are inherent to the nature of matter when it becomes increasingly complex. So here's the biblical base for the monistic view. Animals are spoken of as living souls in the Bible. The monistic view is also based on the concept of physical resurrection, as well as what has been called soul sleep. In the Bible, and when we need to note that in the Bible, the words soul and spirit are often used interchangeably. So these are the three views of humanity that Christian theologians hold to. But where do our souls come from? We've looked at different views of the relationship between the body, the soul, and the spirit. But we're still left with the question, where does the human soul or spirit come from? There are several theories among Christian theologians about where our souls come from. The first of these is the pre-existence theory. The pre-existence theory says that the soul is immortal and pre-exists before it becomes embodied. So that's where the pre-existent part comes from. This is a Greek or Platonic view, and it is found among some theologians. The next idea about where our souls come from is the creation theory. This is sometimes called the direct creationist view. Many theologians believe that God directly creates each person's soul at the moment of human conception. So that's what the creation theory says. And then there's the tradition theory, which is theological biblical warrant for this view include Psalm 51:5, Romans 5:12, and Hebrews 7:10. Here, the idea is that the soulish aspect of human being is passed from generation to generation through the normal process of conception and procreation. So, in this lecture, we have identified scriptural passages on the image of God. We've explained the importance of the doctrine and image of God. We've listed and explained the views of human constitution as trichotomist, dichotomist, and monist. And we've listed and explained the views of the origin of the human soul, pre-existence, creationism, and traditionism. We are created by God, body and soul, to image him in creation, and to see that we are conformed to the image of Christ, body and soul. This is why Paul can say that our purchase of redemption includes our whole being, and we are therefore to glorify God in our bodies as well as in our spirit. See 1 Corinthians 6:20. So in our next class session, we will talk more about the nature of humanity.